Today we sit with two of my childhood friends, Richie and Rango Lee. Both of Vietnamese-American descent and both entrepreneurs. In this two-part episode, we discuss Rango's journey starting Warring Properties and Richie's YouTube empire, built from his love of Vietnamese culture, streetwear, and sneakers. We hope you enjoy. What's up, everybody? I go by the name of Domo.
And I go by the name of Yoshiko.
We sit with entrepreneurs and artists across disciplines to share their stories, insight, and gems. Their journey will inspire you to think about community and your own narrative, how it shapes who you are, and what your legacy will be.
You're listening to No Blueprint.
No blueprint. No blueprint.
No blueprint.
You are listening to No Blueprint.
What would be the title of either a biopic or the biography about your lives?
My story title would be Blessed Boater. Blessed Boater.
Okay, explain that.
Yeah, I'm a boater. Came over from Vietnam when I was 2 or 3 years old on the refugee boat escaping the war. Yeah. And I'm blessed, I came real far. So, coming of age story. So, Blessed Boater.
That's what's up.
Nice. For myself, I would say when you asked that question on the email, my first thought was The Family Man with Nicolas Cage. Have you seen that movie? Basically, there's like a point in his life where he could either go to this really successful career or he could just live like a really normal life and there's really no meaning behind it. And there's two paths he could cross. And I always kind of think about that when I think about like my journey and everything. Like, could have went this way or it really could have went that way. So it like even flashes back and he lives like this other life and he's like, wait, where's my old life? And I kind of think about that like even when I moved away, right, which we'll get to later maybe. Yep. You're always thinking about what you're missing out on and stuff. So
okay. Rango, I want to start with you.
Sure.
You talked about coming over from Vietnam. You remember Vietnam as a child, or how old were you?
I was probably 1 when we left Vietnam.
Okay.
And I don't remember anything about that. I just hear stories about how we came over. My mom still remembers, which is good. And then she's a little older now, so we want to try to get all the information we can so I can pass it down to my son and our grandkids and stuff. So, no, it was tough. That's what I remember. We almost didn't make it a couple times, and crazy. She's, single mother. I think she was upper 27, 28 with 3 small kids. Like, that don't happen. You don't really do that in Vietnam, right, leaving, and make it. We were from the South Vietnam, so we were from this town called Rat Ya. And it was on the coast, and we lost. The South lost, right? The North came down, the communists, and they won, and the Americans left, and we were still there trying to just piece together life, and no resources. Everyone was struggling, and so my mom didn't want that for us. She's like, I gotta go. I gotta get my kids to a better place, and she did.
And just took 3 kids.
3 kids, small, 1, 3, and 6.
I heard there was a boat that my mom was supposed to get on with Rango and everybody, but Rango was being like too loud or something like that, and they didn't get on that boat.
Yeah. And
then that boat they don't know what happened to that boat.
So
my mom had like friends on it.
Yeah, it sunk in the storm. Yeah. We were supposed to get on, and
because was Rango? It was because you were being like fussy.
Yeah,
right?
I was 1 and probably freaking malnourished and having cold probably, and I was a whinier baby than usual. That's what my mom said, and that's a risk bringing a small baby in the middle of the night in the ocean trying to leave Vietnam. So they left us. I don't remember we gave them the gold or not, but they left us when we were supposed to get on, and then we found out that boat sunk in a storm.
Oh, that's confirmed?
Yeah, mom said that.
That's
so,
crazy.
Who knows? There's a bigger reason why we're still here. So,
listen.
Hey, blessed boater, man.
Right. Hey, you know what I mean? There it is.
Maybe that can be
God's
the
plan.
scene.
That could be the opening
That's the opening scene
right there.
Damn. Did your mom know anyone here in the States?
Yeah, so my dad, he was around. We tried a couple of times leaving as a family with him, my mom, and 3 kids. And we tried a couple of times, and we almost didn't make it as a family. So my dad said, hey, let me just go first. I'll get to America, and then I'll sponsor you guys over. And that's what he did. And then my mom didn't hear from him for about a year. And so we're thinking maybe he passed away or something happened. And she's like, I just can't wait no more. Things are falling apart everywhere.
Right.
And I don't know what happened to them, so I can't just wait. I got to go. So, and then when we got to the refugee camp in Thailand, we finally made it there. We were there for about a year and a half. And then we found out my dad just left the refugee camp probably a couple months before we got there. So we're like, okay, cool. He made it. He's alive. He's here. And then he got to America first. And then he sponsored us over to Fort Smith, Arkansas, and that's how we got over.
Crazy. I forgot Richie was born in
Arkansas.
So how long were you in Arkansas?
We were there for 10 years. That's where Richie was born.
10 years?
Yeah, first 10 years.
I had no. So what part of Arkansas?
Fort Smith, Arkansas.
Okay.
Chicken capital of the world. There's pictures of Richie holding chickens and running around with chickens and cockfights and all that when we were little.
My parents had a all-you-could-eat restaurant.
What?
All-you-could-eat Chinese restaurant.
I had no idea.
Yeah, we
So
did.
wait.
And
so,
Jackie was our oldest sister was like the manager at like 10 years old.
So because so Jackie's number one.
Jackie's number.
No.
There's Ji-Tung was the
Oh, yes,
one.
yes, yeah.
She's our
Okay.
oldest sister, and then Jackie was second oldest. But
Okay.
we left Ji-Tung back in Vietnam, which is kind of another
Story
crazy
in
story.
its
Yeah,
own.
she's the oldest, but we left her back for some reasons. And
Yeah.
then she's
Your
here now.
grandma, right?
She stayed with our grandma. Yep,
Okay.
you're right.
Yep.
She was the oldest. She was 9, and she grew up with my grandma mainly because when you're in poverty and you're trying to struggle just to make a living, you couldn't watch the kids, right? Because so you had to go out and hustle. And my mom sold gasoline. That was her hustle on the side, illegally, right?
Yeah.
So our oldest sister Ji-Tung, she was watched by my grandma to kind of take the burden off my mom having to watch so many kids. So she grew up with her and got really tight with her.
Yeah.
And then we were leaving for Vietnam. My grandma said, hey, and this was kind of normal for a lot of families to do that, leave one kid back in case this group don't make it, then there's always somebody still left. And she was so close to my grandma, she couldn't leave her. So she stayed back. And that's why.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Jackie and then Johnny?
And John, yep, Jackie
Okay.
and John.
Okay.
They're the two oldest. That's, us three is the one that left with my mom
Okay.
when we were little.
Got it. After being sponsored by a church to come to America, Rango, Jackie, Johnny, and their mother would reunite with their father. They'd open their first business, a Chinese restaurant in Fort Smith, Arkansas. This is where Richie and his sister Julie would later be born. After their family had been there for more than 10 years, they followed their pastor and moved to Seattle's Northgate neighborhood. Y'all came to Kent, and you rented the house across the street from my house.
Oh, yeah.
Which is how I met y'all.
Whitney Glen. That was
Whitney
the community.
Glen, yes. So you come over, Richie, you had to be what, 6?
I was second grade.
Second grade, so 6 or 7?
Yeah.
And going back timeline, so you were
Yeah.
in North Seattle and then went to Kent.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Oh, Shoreline, then Kent.
Okay.
Shoreline.
North Seattle Shoreline.
And we didn't just go, like, we got kicked out of the hood. I don't know.
Okay,
And who gets kicked out of the hood, right? So then we got kicked out of the hood, and then
I didn't know this.
we got kicked out. And then they put us on Section 8.
Yeah.
Section 8 is that program where they help pay for your rent if you rent a house. And we got kicked out. We were troublemakers. We were
See what
little
happened
ruffians. And they kicked us out, man. Yeah,
Dang
and
it.
but it's crazy. All the kids in the hood do stuff, right?
Yeah.
But we just got caught, and so they kicked us out,
they were
and then
like-
that's how we ended up section. But actually, it was a blessing in disguise because we got out of the hood,
Right.
right? So it was our come up story. You
That's
know?
real.
So when one ghetto door closes, another door opens in the suburb.
Hey, that's it. And there it is.
There it is.
So you live how long in Shoreline?
We lived there for about 3 years. That was definitely, I think, our turning point as a family because we were still on Section 8. Then I don't remember, all of a sudden my parents were coming home with this food, burgers and fries, and they would just leave it in the refrigerator for a couple of days. I was like, where does this food come from? Because we don't get food, right?
Right.
And then I found out they were working on a catering truck, or one of the mobile catering trucks in Kent. They said, hey, we should maybe buy one and open up a family business and get out of the system, which is the Section 8 and getting food stamps and that stuff. And so they took the leap of faith to get out off the system to start this catering truck, and that's why we moved to Kent.
Yeah.
And the system's a funny thing though too, right? Because it was hard for us, because if you're in the system, you only can make so much money. So it's weird. It's like this weird pickle where you make too much money, then you're off the system. Now you gotta make it on your own.
Right.
And that's the decision my mom made, which really saved our family. Or she could have just stayed in the system and
But it's
got this
comfortable.
help and support. Yeah, and it's safe. But you're always in the system. You're in this poverty system, and
Right.
so it was
Right.
it was an interesting thing, that system.
Do you remember the name of the food truck that your parents worked on?
Yeah. Oh, so our last name Lee. So it was first Lee's Catering, and then it was On the Go Catering, right?
Yeah. Was the name of your mom's food truck, or was the name of the one that they worked on first?
Oh no, I don't remember the name of that truck,
Okay.
but it's definitely a truck.
Some of
that
these
they
trucks
worked
didn't
on.
even have names.
Okay. Hey, they just pulled up.
Yeah.
It wasn't as hip as it is now.
Yeah,
Back
right.
then-
Branding back then. It
So
was just about the food.
I was gonna say,
you're right,
I
you're
was
right,
like,
you're right.
Food trucks weren't a thing.
This is a different type of food truck.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
So wait, so
It
so
was the
very
food truck
different.
you were like embarrassed about.
Yeah.
Like, I'm serious.
It
what
was.
year was this?
When we first got onto the food truck, and
Yeah.
right around 97.
I was gonna say, and thank you for pointing that out, because now food trucks are hella hip, and everybody's
It's
got a food
it's
truck.
a
It
different
was
food
like-
truck.
Yeah, it was
Doing the
a-
food truck before it was cool.
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not when we was working on it.
Man, so okay, so one of the things that I spoke to y'all about earlier, and the reason why I think that this interview is so dope and so important, is like the center around the food truck that your parents ran, and just the fact that both of y'all are entrepreneurs now. Like, tell me what those early years and the first years were like that y'all can remember, and tell me about like the first time y'all had to work on the food truck.
Earliest memory was you had to wake up at butt crack of dawn to work the food truck. We were talking about 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And I was at the time, I was probably 18, and that was tough. That was probably the toughest thing about the truck, is waking up so early, because you're trying to really grab that breakfast crowd. And right around 1 o'clock, you're done. You're closing down shop, lunch is over, and then you go home at 1 or 2. It was stinky. You smell like fried French fries and deep fried burritos all day, and it's greasy.
What
It's,
kind of, sorry.
Yo, please.
What kind of food did you serve, the food truck serve?
It was a mix. It was like, there was no direction on it. It was just whatever my mom and dad thought of that day. That's what we made.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So, burgers, fries, and then you had the Mexican stuff. You had like tacos and burritos, and then you had breakfast, regular American breakfast stuff, and then Chinese stuff. We used to own that Chinese restaurant, so they still knew how to make some fried rice dishes with chicken on it, and a lot of deep fried stuff like corn dogs and burritos.
You're serving
and egg
like
rolls.
a lot of truck drivers, people
So it's
like
like
that
this
work
kid.
like factory jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
It does, labor jobs. That was our number one clientele. So they need the calories, and they wasn't picky about what they ate, right? 'Cause
Yo, you don't know how many Monsters and Red Bulls, like that's people don't eat breakfast. They drink like 3 Monsters, man.
And 'cause
Yeah.
they gotta stay up. Yeah. That's real. That's so real. And then you went to Kent Ridge.
yeah,
At 18, it's safe to say that you had options, right? But you chose to go help your parents on the food truck. What made you decide that? Because most 18-year-olds would be like, yo, I'm out. I got my freedom.
I had no options. I mean, it wasn't an option. They were like, you get up at 5 and you're working on the truck. That's your option.
Yeah.
Or things are gonna happen. So, and that's what I did. I got up and helped them on the truck.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
When did you start working on your parents' food truck?
I would say, what was this, like around like 21?
Okay.
21-ish?
Okay.
20?
So you got some time to just be a kid.
I would be around, but I didn't really I wasn't working. I would just like help out here and there, but to actually like do full days and everything,
Yeah.
that was around like 2021.
Okay. So let's
20? Yeah.
So we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
We'll come back to that. I want to know from your end, like growing up and knowing all this, seeing where everything was, what was it like for you? Because I know you also have your sister Julie, who's between you and Richie, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me what that was like, just growing up in Kent, and understanding like the story of compared to your brothers and sisters, like you got to live the most normal life out of everybody else.
Yeah, I think for me, I kind of like took a step back growing up. I really took my time, and obviously, like you said, I had a lot of influences growing up. Obviously, like with my family, growing up in Kent, there's a lot of influences, and you just kind of, I don't think I really acted on anything until I was maybe like 20 something. I didn't really like pick a side. I didn't really do something crazy. I just kind of like chilled and went through the motions, I would say, for the most part. If you want to fast forward to later and what I'm doing now, that's when I was like, man, I have so many influences in my life. I got to take that and make something out of it. So,
did you feel any pressure from family? Was there any pressure to be like, listen, go to college and get a...
Nah, because it wasn't so definite. It wasn't so like concrete. Like, it wasn't like I came from a family of like 5 scholarly students or anything. Like, there was influences like in, like, I would say it was a really like grab bag type of family. You know, obviously you have Jackie, you have John. I really had the freedom to do whatever I wanted to do. Like, everybody can give their 2 cents, but no one's like, yo, you have to go to this college. You know how like some families are like, you got to go to where your parents went to. It wasn't like that. So I had a lot of freedom and kind of just took my time.
Right. And so, for you, Rango, when did you move to Seattle?
So I was living with my parents to about 21 years old, and I was still working on the catering truck, and I was party promoting. I got in when I was about 18, helped out my good buddy Amir. He had a production company. There was like 8 of us that helped throw nightclub events and raves, and then when I turned 21, that broke up, and I had an opportunity to do my own nightclub. It's called the Royal Club in Skyway. Now they call it now it's the Roman Casino, if anyone knows about Skyway. And then so I was making money, and I was like, I'm out. I'm gonna go get an apartment with my buddy, and that's when I flew the coop. Yeah. I felt famous. I was a local celebrity, man. Yeah. You know, you're at the age where you're starting to figure out who you want to be, and then, you know, ego and cockiness plays a big part in it, because you're a young man, and you're starting to get the first taste of real success. You know, where you're making money on your own, and girls are just everywhere, and they're drunk, and so they all want to get into your club and, you know, be with the main promoter, and guys wanted to hang out with you because it was a fun life, and I felt famous, man. It was a good time. So a lot of people I know now, I still remember from those days, and I still keep in touch with a lot of people. So it was good times. I don't want to say golden years, because now it's still my golden years, but it was a good young man career, because at that age you're partying anyways. You know, most of us are.
Paid for it.
Yeah, but I'm getting paid for it. You know, and then you get status in the community. You go wherever, and they all let you in free and skip the line, and it was cool.
How long did you do that for?
So I started with Amir when I was about 18, but I didn't do anything on my own. And then I ventured off on my own production company. It was called Blaze Entertainment, because we were blazing a lot back then. To a shout out to all the 420s. Right. And so from 21 till 26. I was a promoter and owned a nightclub, and it was.
I remember we got to meet some DJs.
Yeah.
Back in the day, me and Richie would. Richie was like, "You want to go to Rango's apartment with me?" I was like, "Yeah." And so like we went there. They had all this like recording equipment. Like, what are y'all guys doing? Oh, we're recording a drop for Cube 93. And I was like, "What?"
Yeah, it seemed crazy back then.
Yeah, super crazy. I forgot. Asia.
Ooh.
Asia. DJ Ecstasy.
DJ X.
Yes.
Mia was there.
Mia Guzman.
Yeah.
Shout out. Mia X.
So
Good
many
times.
Network. Right? Of like, even when it was something that's completely different than what you do now, you still have those connections with those networks. What was that like coming, I guess, back to Seattle as an older person? I guess, well, not even older, but I guess like as a young man versus like being a kid.
Well, now you're an adult, and I felt like I was running the town. You know, we felt good. We did what we wanted. We stayed out all night. We blazed. We went to parties. And, you know, some people just have that phase through college for a year or two, but it was work for me, so I did it for 7 years as a career, and it was a blessing and a curse. It was you see a lot of things when you're out there. And remember what Mom said, nothing good happens after midnight. And it's true. And
Midnight, huh?
after midnight, you should probably be home at 11:59, and you're still in the good side. Past midnight, so you see a lot of things, but then it's a gift and a curse. You get an exciting life, but you run around with the night crawlers, and they don't make the best decision, that you don't either after midnight.
Hey everybody, this is Philip Deng from No Blueprint Season 1, Episode 6. Just wanted to tell you that my nonprofit MarketShare is launching a campaign called 100,000 Founders. We're raising $100,000 from 100,000 people donating $1 each as co-founders of King Street Market. This is the first time anybody's crowd-founded a public market. So we need you to go to our website, marketshareseattle.org, to be able to contribute $1 to our Kickstarter campaign and become a founder. It's that simple. Today, May 2nd, we've got 30 days until the campaign ends, and we need 100,000 people to pledge as co-founders. So check it out and enjoy No Blueprint.
What kept you grounded?
I was pretty out there at that age, so I don't know if I was too grounded. But definitely, there was always God in my life, and I always knew He was there. Jesus. I always felt like He had my back and my family's back, and so I always had that spiritual side. And I think overall, I was always I think I'm a good person. So then I never wanted to hurt someone, or I always wanted people to do good and get blessed and stuff. But but when you're in that age and you're running around with your crew and you feel like you guys are lions, you get tested by other crews. So, you have to fight back. Sometimes if someone tries to disrespect you or do something, and you just have to hold your own, or you get punked. So we didn't want that to happen.
That's real. Tell me about the beginnings of YouTube, and what gave you that idea, and how did you go from there?
Well, basically, I think it's important to, if I'm going to bring up the YouTube, to acknowledge even the past, even all the influences I had growing up.
Right.
When it came to music or entertainment, even my brother doing the club promoting and just entertainment in general. I remember he even told me back then, yo, Rich, we're going to sign you to Blaze Records. And even if there was no real structure, it had me thinking whoa, that sounds tight, you know what I mean? A record label. I remember, Soldify and he Asia and everybody, and just stuff like that had a real big impact on my life. And obviously you were the one, actually, Dominique was the first one that told me, man, you need to get some Nikes. Or some Jordans, because you guys had Jordans. Your dad had Jordans, and I remember I was still on LA Gear in 2nd grade. And he was my mom bought me some black Nikes, and then I came back, and you're those aren't the right ones, man. Those aren't the right ones.
Hold on, Neek was hipping you to the style game?
No, Neek was the first one that told me I needed Jordans and Nikes. But I didn't get the right ones. And then I remember, it was a year later, he showed me a picture of the right ones to get, and it was the playoff Jordan 12s. And then Jackie... so Dad gave my sister $100. Jackie took me to the mall and bought me the Jordan 12s.
I want these.
Nice.
Anyways, that was my first Jordan. Anyways, so it was influences like that I really remember.
Yeah.
YouTube came about. My good friends, the Fung Brothers, they're pretty big on YouTube right now. I think they have a couple million subscribers. Mm-hmm. They were my childhood friends growing up, along with Neek. I met them in 3rd grade. And they had a huge influence. We used to make songs really for fun back then, and
Oh, and so that's why you wanted to sign him.
Yeah, we used to make songs.
Got it. Okay.
So it's just we always kind of had fun with it, but never really yo, how are you actually going to make money off of it? And then I remember graduating from college, and David or Andrew were already in LA pursuing YouTube. And at the time, they didn't have that many subscribers. It seemed like a lot back then. When I moved down, I was well, they made it. But we really didn't make it. We lived in a back home. In California, they have a house, but then they have a little back home in the alley.
Like the mother-in-law.
I lived in a closet, and my manager always brings a story up when she talks to people sometimes. I lived in a closet a third of this size in that house when I first moved to LA. Anyways, So yeah, they were already in LA doing their thing, and they really like gave me the blueprint. I'm not gonna lie. Like David told me, you know, I could give you the tools, but I'm not gonna build a house for you. And I always looked at David kind of like a tough love. You know what I mean? Like me and him always used to bump heads. Me and Andrew, his younger brother, were more like friends. You know, like more friends. But David was always kind of like a more mentor / friend. And he was like, yo, I could give you the tools, but you got to build a house for yourself. After college, I quit a marketing job at Talking Rain, and then I sold my car, and then told my family I'm moving. So I moved down to LA to pursue YouTube.
Yeah.
And then we're just all kind of try to come up together.
Nice.
Yeah.
When did the real estate thing start for you?
Yeah, I was doing promoting for 7-8 years now, and this was 2000, so I was promoting from about the year 1999 to 2026. And yeah, I totally forgot that Richie was signing my label. And yeah, I started at the end there. I started a record label. I had 3 or 4 artists on there, and a DJ and a producer, and we were throwing concerts too. So and I kind of forgot about that because it was just the last 2 years of my promoting career, and that was fun. We didn't really do too much with the label side. And I think that's how Richie got into it a little, because we were throwing concerts and nightclubs, and him and I guess you now was coming around, and when he was young, 12, 13, performing at a 21 and over nightclub, hanging out. You know, I was the promoter, so I got him in. So I think he was exposed to entertainment at a young age, and I think that's why he's successful now and he's comfortable around it, because he was young doing it. I was promoting, and a lot of bad things were happening around me, and I felt like God was saying, hey, you should get out of this career soon. And I was at the top. I mean, if you're talking about like the Asian promoting scene in Seattle, and there was probably 8-9 promoting companies. We were at the top at the time. We had, you know, cracking nights on Fridays, Saturdays, Wednesdays. We're making a lot of money. Our clubs are usually more packed, and I was like, why would I get out right now? I'm at the peak, you know. My security guard got shot at one of my nightclubs by one of my childhood friends from the hood, from Cedarville. They were coming around supporting the club and partying. I was letting them on free, and you know, they're thugs, and they came in, and there was a big old fight happened, and they shot one of my security guards right in front of me, and then, you know, I thought he was gonna pass, and it was right by his heart. So I remember we were breaking up fights. It was like a 20-on-20 fight. It was a huge fight, and I was trying to break it up, and we're all trying to break it up, and then I heard a boom, like right behind me. So everyone just stopped. We knew it was a gunshot. And we turned around. It was outside. It was like on the streets, and I turned around, and then it was like smoke, and then right out of that smoke came my security guard. This guy named Big Pete, Samoan dude, and he just came, and he was holding his chest. And he walked up to me, and he I was you know, I was skinny guy back then. I was promoting, and he fell on me. He's like, Rango, I'm shot, and like he's like falls on me to hold him, and then he's a big Samoan, so then I couldn't hold him. And I just like lay him on the ground, and blood is coming out of his chest and his hand, and he's like, and he was still on point though too. He was like, he reached into his jacket, go, hold my gun. So he still remember, you know, I don't know, maybe it's a hot piece or something. Yeah. It's like, damn, bro, all right. So I put it in my pocket, and we're holding him, and everyone stops fighting because someone just got shot, you know. So, and then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened, but the cops were already there, detectives. They were just like watching our club. I don't even know why, and they charged and tackled the guy.
You don't know why?
Well, we're probably hot boys, right? We're hot boys. I don't know. So he got arrested, and then then I was like, F, I got a piece on me. So while all this is going on, I run into the back of the club, and I throw the piece into the bushes, you know, and then I come back, and then everyone's around him, and then so we're in the hospital, we're in emergency room now, and it's like 4 a.m, and then his wife's there with his kid.
Sorry, to be continued. This concludes the first part of this 2-part interview.
If you liked what you heard, be sure to donate so we can keep going. We are on SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube, so be sure to subscribe, rate, and comment. You have no idea how much it helps. We also want to know what you think. You can hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and you can even use the hashtag #NoBlueprint. And if you're really down with the movement, you can join our Patreon account and become a patron. where you'll get exclusive content and limited edition merchandise. No Blueprint is powered by Ambassador Stories. We share stories of the people, places, and spaces that bring soul to our communities. No Blueprint is recorded at Ambassador Stories Studios and co-produced with me, Maya Aina. Hear more episodes of No Blueprint and get official No Blueprint merchandise at noblueprintpodcast.com.